Hello, this is Python here. I'm making this video to kind of discuss my issues personally of Citizen Zero. Yes, just before I made this video, 2.2 has already been shown and the survey's already gone out, all that stuff, blah blah blah. But this is kind of my video where someone that isn't as big as some people is kind of just giving their thoughts. I want this game to be better, and this is somebody who just likes to play the game. I'm not really that sweaty or that type of stuff. I just like playing the game. Here's my thoughts on everything. I'll make a list on every topic we discuss about during this video. And that's pretty much it. I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed this video. If there's anything wrong or give me some feedback on how to improve my editing style and such, that would be fantastic. Anyway, enjoy the video. Have a lovely day. Okay. Let's just get this over and done with so I don't have to fucking blow myself up. Going to talk about Citizen Zero's current bullshit state. We'll just go through some of the points really quick. Just the easy, quick ones, just so they're out the way and that I can actually discuss proper issues. Balance system. 75-25 should be removed. Quite simple. People saying that 50-50 should be removed is wrong. The only thing I think should change with the 50-50 is to lowering it down to 80. But oh well. But phase 1 should stay throughout the entire patch. So people like me who like to save up pools of characters that can benefit my account, I don't have to pull for, well, not pull, but wait for a long time, or just don't have enough pulls to get the character I want. Occasionally release one character instead of two. Quite simple. Rewa does this, and it's great. And the basic one, just standard weapons and characters should be separated. Very easy. And I'm full of that, but I think it would be a good change. Skins now, just quickly going through them. Giving skins to the older characters. I think the only old character that actually got the skin from 1.5 to 2.1 is Ellen. And that's literally it. Well, Nicole got one, but that was for free. I'm talking about pay ones. Anyway, UI. We'll get this done very quickly as well. The UI could be better because a lot of this information or helpful stuff isn't always there. For example, you wouldn't know where to go to crafting, where you have to go into your storage instead. So you have to go into your storage, you have to click on that item that you want to craft, so the lower tier. No, you would do the normal tier, but you have to craft through that instead. The other thing is the map UI feels quite janky. Not on PC, but I think this would still make it better. But on controller, it feels jank. The 3D map feels very janky to go through. And not only that, I think you could have combined the simple map and the 3D map together instead of just having them separated. It would have been a way better decision, but oh well. Please just combine the two. It's better for the game, and it's less confusing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Next topic. Okay, we're doing the tutorial. I have to redo this one because I felt it was way too long. If you hear sounds in the background, don't worry about it. Pretty much, the tutorial is way too long. I think it should have been shortened to tell you what is enough, but at the same time, the tutorial doesn't really give you as much. Of course, they have something that tells you more about the game and how to perform better, but even with that, it doesn't tell you everything. I feel like those ways to tell the player how the game works should be extended and improved to tell you more than just little nitpicks that doesn't really tell you anything, and they don't extend on that. They have done an update like this with the tower, I'm pretty sure, when released, but that's all they have done. They haven't done anything else from my knowledge. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to redo this to shorten it out because it was very, very unnecessarily long. Anyway, next one, combat. It's very easy to talk about combat because I don't really need to talk much of it. All I said about combat in my notes were the combat UI needs to be updated, and I'm pretty sure. Oh, the other thing is just adding up the training room. Pretty much, I think the combat UI needs to be updated more to show you what a lot of the actual UI does, like the switching in. The game doesn't really tell you. I'm pretty sure they don't. You can switch back and forth. So they'll tell you that you can switch to the next character, but won't tell you to switch to the previous character. It's kind of weird in that sense. The other thing I touched about was the drive discs, W engines, and core skill buffs that they give to the characters or the players to give them a visual idea of, hey, I have my upturn on Hormone Punk for 10 seconds, then we do my quick rotation throughout the chain attack, then switch out, 10-second cooldown, can be seen on the counter bar, and then you switch back in. Simple. And with the training room, I feel like all you can do is just add weekly bosses and bosses in. That's literally all you can do, because it will make it, one, feel better to test out the bosses, to have a feel on what they like, other than having to wait to show you defense, orderly as well, and just kind of muck around with them. It's just a way to have fun and learn how to play a game. I'm going to redo the story because I did it way too long. Pretty much the story has been feeling very underwhelming for the long time, and it just kind of feels like it's unnecessary at this point. Like, I don't think Zenless' lore is that important as much anymore. And I feel like the 2.1 story should have just been a character quest, or kind of like just a filler patch. Not, would it be called a filler patch? Maybe. But pretty much 2.1 should have been like what 1.1 or 1.3 or 1.5 was. Where it's just kind of filler. Doesn't mean anything to the proper main story. It's just kind of there to talk about. But even so, I feel like I will talk about more on what was disappointing with not only their choices of models, but also the camera works and the dialogue. What I mean by the models is, I'll give you one example, and it's specifically in Hugo's story. When he's talking to his inner demon, which is for some reason designed to be a Bang Boo who's just Robin, when you have his doppelganger model already there. The camera works needs to be improved. It would have been greater with the Hugo talk as well, going around his like story and such. But not only that, you should use your 3D models more often and pander to people. For example, Damien, when he's telling us all these important top figures and such, have the camera panning towards their 3D models, because you talk a lot about the different people, but the picture of you used only showed one important character. And what I mean by this is one stood out more than the other. And it kind of just ruined the visual of who's what. Not only that, I feel like the dialogue needs to be less bloated and also skippable. For a lot of the time, we kind of just talk to random people that don't really do anything for us. And when they do, it's so long and unnecessary. And I want that meaningful discussion that we had before, but I guess it just doesn't exist now. And I think I'll touch upon 2.1 as a story as a whole, because I feel like we can improve from this more. And what I mean by this is remove the unnecessary talking, the constant repeating ourselves, and making characters be such an asshole for no reason. I feel like Damien gets so mistreated when he's just trying to be a good guy. He's trying to do good, but people are just pushing him away. Just let him out. And not only that, I feel like the miss of talking about more about tops was a miss. It would have been great to see more stuff about the figures at tops. But I guess that doesn't really matter to Hoya's eyes. What I think should matter is how you approach the story. How we get Yuzuha and Alice to meet up was such poorly done. Because how it happened was Alice and us talk, we mention something, she goes out and she starts crying in her room, then she gets jump scared, then she comes to us asking for help. And we do that, then we check out the locations, Commoner's behind it, we chase him, and then blah 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 blah, all that stuff. And then that's how they met. And it's like, well, that doesn't sound that great. Because if we look at 2.0, we had an entire reason why they could have met. And what I thought would be a great way to meet is Yuzuha and Komono, the big tall guy, I'm pretty sure his name is, I might be wrong, I might have used his name wrong as well, but pretty much them both doing like some shopping whilst the player, the proxies, and Pan are talking to Damien outside of the buffet. Komono sees us and walks up to talk about Damien, to let out his frustrations about the entire matter. Stuff goes on. Alice and Asando, I think her name is, come out to derail the situation. That would have been like better as a meetup. Or us actually we can have it as like Alice caught them both trying to sneak out from somewhere that they should have been, and then they come to us to discuss about it. Kind of those would have been great, but I feel like leading in towards 2.0's important death stuff is more a great way to lead. But not only that, I felt like they done Yushun so dirty as a character. And it kind of ruined her eyes. Not ruined her eyes. It ruined my vision on her as a character. Who, the reason why she is so powerful was to train to a certain amount of power so her sister wouldn't use the Yin Sword. And of course she failed, but she kept on training despite that. And I guess that she blocked out every memory of her sister afterwards, but it's just like, you had another chance to talk to your sister, even though, yes, she's an ethereal, she's an enemy. It was still could have been like some sort of reunion. And I get she's evil, I get that. But even after you killed her, you could have done something. They just gaps because of her eyes open. You could have had Yushin running towards her afterwards, clinging onto her as she fades away, and she breaks down. Because Yushin's sister meant the world to Yushin, and I kind of felt like that part of the story to her never existed. And I hate that. I hate how they done that part of her story. So that's kind of why I feel like 2.1 needs to be better. The story needs to be better, so we don't have such character development just ruined. I want these characters to be them. Anyway, I'm gonna move on from this before I start crashing out more. of the story. I wasn't questioning it, but I just don't. I don't like talking much of the story because it's just so boring to talk about because how shit it is. And I want the story to be better. I really do. Events. I feel like the events can be better, 100%. It's just a lot of them just feels like chores, and the events that are permanent, I don't think should have fully been permanent, but added on as a way to make the players play them again. Kind of think of the Bang Boo minigame, where we played Bang Boo Fall Guys, but we don't really play as much anymore because there's no need to play. Give us a reason to play again. I feel that's what's important, but they just haven't done that. They'll use it as a separate event than adding on to those events, which I think is kind of stupid. You should add on to your permanent events to make them more fun to play and to get people to play them again. And not only that, I feel like the events, this goes with like a lot of games as well, they don't really touch upon the combat as much. And I get Zenless and Rua don't really touch on their combat as so much as often, even though those two games, the combat is great. I think Rua's combat is, of course, better, but I think both of them should touch upon those combat with those events more often, because they're just fantastic. And I'll give you an example for Zenless. I know there's one for Rua. I'll get into that one as well. But the lighter side event was fun. But I think the reason why I didn't enjoy it as much is because Alice and Yuzuha are both anomaly characters and support characters, which just didn't make it feel as great as having a stunner or an attack agent do those kind of fights. And in Rua's case, I think those like boss fights you can do and making more harder is such a great event, and I kind of wish Zenless had something like that. But I guess Tower's the way they implemented it, and I think that's stupid. But I kind of just wish there was more combat events. The other thing I kind of wish for is the limited AMAX. The W engines that we get suck. I think the only one I can think of is like the Sire one, but it's only because of the cook rate. And I kind of want it to be better, so there's more of a reason to chase these. And if they have a system that you can get them again, kind of think of Honkai Star Rail, but I don't want the same system as Honkai Star Rail because it feels so boring to wait for so long to get those W engines. I feel like you should just grind to get them. If you play enough, you can get them. If they can earn them, do all that kind of stuff, then having to wait a week, wait a week, wait a week, wait another week, wait another week, just to get those engines. I think that's a terrible idea. And I'm hoping that they just made it grindable than time-based. Endgame, probably the most important thing of Zenless at this point. The endgame has been having ups and downs lately. Getting a new counter makes it so much easier to clear. For example, the Jane fight was so much easier to clear with Yuzuha because a certain percentage of a normal builder was lowered just because Yuzuha was unveiled, and it was kind of stupid. But even so, the bosses, even with miasma or not, feel so odd lately. You either get like the really good ones or the really shitty ones. And sometimes it depends on the buffs as well, because Yuzuha's buff was, I think, so shilly, but then you have Alice's and Yanagi's buff, which was quite good with all agents, or electric and physical agents. But putting that aside, we'll talk about the bosses and Miasma at the same time. But pretty much the bosses who are great with Miasma, the same boss, Miasma Fiend, and Hugo, I'll show you an example what I mean. Their bars, when Miasma is popped, they deplete so quickly. Miasma's Fiend attacks, the Miasma bar goes like really short, you can just use an all. And I'm pretty sure with blocks, with user hub specifically, for some reason, will lower its bar even more. And Hugo and the same boss just depletes their Miasma bar by themselves, by just defense assist. And with the terrible bosses like Jane, the spear people, the electric guys, and I'm trying to think, oh yeah, the ball guy as well, they just feel miserable to fight. Two of them are, of course, mixed to have Rupture as your main source of damage, but as well, even with that, Miasma Jane just felt terrible to fight because Jane as a boss is very quick, she doesn't do a lot of defensive assists, and she just moves around too much, making it hit her even in Miasma. And I will add priests into this as well, but I think it's more that I just don't like fighting priests. And I'll even put Bringer in here because Bringer's a bit weird. The boss's designs being more tied to specific counters or walls should not be happening at all. And I think that's why Miasma is such a terrible addition to the game. But if they do it right, it will make the game feel better. But I think they need to make it that it's just a bar that makes it you can't stun them instead of increasing defense. So I think that's what it does. But I'll quickly mention about HP inflation and tower. HP inflation should probably stop for Deadly Assault, mainly just because you're killing a boss, not a group of enemies. But with Shield defense, I think it should not be happening as well. I think because Shield defense is so much harder than Deadly Assault, I think it should be clear that I think we need to stop raising HP at this point and just kind of let the players play. Because a lot of people don't play daily, and some people are not very people are casuals or just don't play daily. And I think it kind of hurts those people who enjoy a game, but they just don't want to play constantly. And I'll quickly go over Tower. Tower, if this is true, should not be the third endgame mode. What it should be third is just a fun option to play. That's all Tower should be. A fun option just to play around, fuck around, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I think that's it for the discussion of Endgame. I could talk about more. I'm trying to think what I could talk about, but I don't think there is. So I'll move on to the next thing. Community. Specifically the Twitter community, so not CN or Reddit, just Twitter. The issues I have with Twitter, and of course I'll mention some CCs as well. I'm not going to point fingers, but it should be obvious. The constant misinformation, the constant negative positivity, constantly, and the disrespect to people who do criticize the game. What are we doing? We shouldn't be trying to make shit up about people who are trying to help the community, like Saint, like Cosmos, who give criticism, but we dunk on them for doing it. And I get that those two creators have balls of steel. They'll fucking tank all of you guys. They are built like a brick wall or like a Dark Souls boss that's specifically near impossible to defeat. Even so, you don't give them any form of respect. Like, even if they criticize the game, they still deserve fucking respect for humans. And it kind of sickens me if they don't get that respect. they are people like us, treat them with respect, even if they are criticizing our game, which they should. It is a game to be criticized about. We shouldn't be telling them to suggest to kill themselves. I probably should censor that. Or do some like other shit. They're just trying to help the game grow to be better. And we just dunk and mislead people about it. Because you guys want to be positive in the community space. Fuck being positive. I'd rather be negative all the time, talking about a game, constantly shitting on it, than be positive about the stuff being not told. The game should be improved, should be growing and getting better than just being shit. Take FIFA. FIFA is a shit game in my opinion. It's boring as fuck. The game constantly releases itself with more stuff, not more stuff, but the same stuff constantly, making people have to pay, do all this shit again, blah 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 blah. And it's like, what's the point? And I don't want Zenless to be similar to that, and Zenless won't be, but we should criticize the game to make it not be near as that, is what I'm trying to say. And we'll go over to Saint as well, because even if his gameplay is honestly not the greatest, he still has a valid point. His points are valid. I'll get that out of the way. And I'll be honest, he is completely correct by his Murabi being better than probably all of us. I checked. It's better than mine. And mine runs pain ratio instead of attack. And holy shit, that's like, he has some good ass pieces, I'm gonna say. If Saint sees this, your Murabi is fucking insane. Just hope you know. You'll probably already know. Anyway, we'll move on. Backsealing. Yes, this has happened, and I'm scared that it's going to happen maybe for the second time. The reason why I say that is we have a big CC called Flats, who mainly plays shooter games, or well, covers them, specifically Marvel Rivals and Overwatch. And having somebody that big in the space talking or playing a game, we should listen to their feedback and see if what we can improve on that, because we don't want to do the same thing as what we did with Nicholas Light. Don't backseat, don't do all that shit, please. Just let bro play the game. Let them both play the game. I get that Nicholas Light won't ever touch the game ever again, and I don't blame him. But at the same time, we should take both their feedback of the game and then improve on it. And I'm hoping Hoya does listen to their feedback and, of course, take it as granted and then, not granted, take it and then work on it. Because it will be great to help. And the only time I'll say this one out, backseating is ever okay, is when the person asks for help. And no, it doesn't mean all of you guys should be telling them. I feel like one person should just be helping out. We don't need tons of people berating people over something. It's stupid. Just let either one guy help, or if something is confusing them, you can explain it to them. We should not be constantly backseating their gameplay. Only help when they want help, or when help is actually properly needed. Which is not every time, guys. Anyway, elitist takes. Who fucking cares about your opinion? Skill issue or not, who gives a fuck when quite literally the HP is rising faster than some people's parents or families even growing without either of you guys. Just instead of trying to say you are bad at the game, maybe look onto why they're either bad at the game or the actual issue at hand. Which, if you want to elitist a take at this point, quote unquote elitist, because who fucking cares at this point if you have an elitist take or not, it's a take. Miasma should have better bosses and be, honestly, even removed if it's not even going to get better. It shouldn't even be in the game. Straight up, that's my take. If you want a hot take, yeah, Miasma should be fucking removed. I'll say it again, even. That's a take. Alicia's take doesn't mean shit. I don't get why we have the difference of Alicia's take and a take is a take. Anyway, I'll shut up now and move on to my final thoughts. I forgot to also say this as well. How on earth did we get offended by a fucking lesbian flag with an anime character over it? The character's not real, by the way. I just hope you know that. It's time to grow up. My final thoughts on Zenless Zero. And kind of where I feel like it's gonna go on. I'm hoping this game improves a ton. I'm hoping this video, even if it doesn't blow up, it can make us talk about actual issues within the game. That is something I want. I want this video to be the light on us as a community talking about actual issues that need changing. But also, I want to make it clear that I do not want any hate towards anybody during this video. Even if I called people out for being fucking idiots, or even briefly talking about some of the other CCs. But at the same time, let's just keep it towards only the game. I just want to talk about the issues with us as a community, but also the game itself. This is the entire point of the video. It's just to bring light to our majority of the stuff. Even though a lot of stuff has been brought into light. I'm not gonna sit around and say everything I talked has never been talked about. It has. But also, I feel like some stuff I do talk about haven't really been talked about. And this is kind of like my thoughts of a rant. Yes, this is slightly a rant, and if it's very much edited, I still put out my thoughts. And if I made any misinformation or anything, then comment. Tell me I said something wrong, do all that stuff. But at the same time, this video is about us as a community discussion about stuff that needs to be changed. And I'm happy talking with bigger CCs in the space and discussion what should be changed. If anyone wants me bring me onto like a video or anything, I'm fine with that. I don't really give a shit. If we can just talk privately or publicly, I'm fine with anything. But I just want this game to grow. And it's kind of just because I am tired of my favorite games turning shit. Turning to like games I just don't want to touch anymore. I played Splatoon for years. I played Destiny games for years. And it's coming to a point that I just don't want to play them. At all. Destiny 2 always have the expansion that looks behind content. So I have to raise money to play that. And then Nintendo can't balance the game. They don't listen to players. And it's just, what's the point of playing these games when I get treated like trash? And the same happens with Zenless. I've been treated like trash. All of us have. And I'm kind of like, what's the point? Even if I had fun, what's the point? And I'm probably going to stick around playing Zenless for like a long time. Just because I find the game fun enough to stick around with. But during those times, I have thought of quitting. I have always thought about do I really need to play this? And I'll probably stay for however long I want to stay for. It's up to me. But yeah. Again, if anybody wants to talk to me, I have a Discord. It will be up on screen or in the description. I'll post up my social media as well on Twitter. Mainly, I'm not posting anything on my fucking other places. But yeah. But at the same time, that is it for me. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that nice stuff. And I will probably make another video talking about my thoughts, but I'll mainly just be posting maybe gameplay stuff, maybe just little clips of just game moments. Why not? I'll do that. But that's it. Have a lovely day, night, or evening, or even afternoon. And I'll see you when I get off my ass and make another video. See ya.